Della Au Belatti, why are you running for Lieutenant Governor?
Before I answer that, I wanted to say thank you for providing me this opportunity to be here. I'm running for Lieutenant Governor because Hawaii suffers from very persistent problems: housing affordability, education, mental health, homelessness, quality jobs, the need for those quality jobs. On the campaign trail, and I've literally been on the campaign trail for 49 days, I have crisscrossed across the state already, going from Hilo, Kona, Maui. I was even on Kauai. And what I'm hearing from people are that they are frustrated with government. They want an honest government. They are feeling stretched and pulled, and they are struggling with the high cost of housing, healthcare, education, and energy. You've heard from some of your great representatives here. They're doing such awesome work, and to see them growing into their positions. I have been in the state legislature for the last 20 years. I want to help them continue to do the work they're doing, but I want to do it from moving from the legislative to the executive branch, where I hope that we can encourage our agencies, our stakeholders, our community groups to stop working in silos, to approach these problems in a more holistic way, to bring the voices of the people. Because another thing that I've been doing over the last 50 days is I've been going around and asking people, what are you frustrated with? And what are some of the solutions? And one of the things I'm learning is that we have the solutions in community already. We need to just bring it out, bring it forward, and make sure that we can fight for the solutions and build the solutions that may not be exactly the same on every island, but have similar features, because we're all struggling and facing the same struggles. That's why I want to be Lieutenant Governor.
My understanding, Rep. Belatti, is that the job of Lieutenant Governor is, I hate to say this, just waiting for the governor to, I don't know, not be well enough to serve, let's just say it that way. But there is no real specific definition, and typically what happens is the sitting governor will work with the lieutenant governor and say, this is what I would like you to do. But what I'd like to know is, what do you want your specific initiatives to be? Because the history has generally been that the lieutenant governor has some ideas about what he or she wishes to do, because there isn't really a specific job definition. So tell us what you think your key initiatives will be.
My key initiatives will be helping Governor Green achieve and tackle housing affordability. That's number one. That's one of the hugest cost drivers, and I can go down into the details on that. But I also want to focus on early education. That's something that Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke has been championing and making great strides and progress on for the last 4 years. I want to continue her work again, because as Representative Capella says, early education is about providing working families assistance, and so that their children can be ready for success. The third area that I really want to focus in on again, and it's because of my experience in the healthcare committee, where I served across from Governor Josh Green when he was Senate Health Chair. We have a lot of laws on the books for mental health, homelessness, supportive housing. We are not able to implement those laws. So I want to help the governor in his initiative to make sure that all of the stakeholders around that issue are working so that the people we see, some of the people who are suffering from homelessness, houselessness, they get the mental health services that they need, so they're not cycling in and out of prison, which is the most expensive place for them to be. I want to help Governor Green achieve his healthcare for all, including that housing is healthcare. Mental health services for those who are suffering from homelessness is part of healthcare that we need to deliver as a state.
You mentioned that you want to consider the current focus on early childhood education, which current Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke had made a priority. We have several initiatives underway here on Big Island. Expand a little bit about what you want to do, because it's well known, well documented that if kids go to school before they go to kindergarten, they're going to do better in life in a lot of different ways. So talk more about that, please.
Sure, and again, it's one of the great things about the last 50 days has been able to travel to different islands and to talk with people like Angela Thomas here, who's doing the work of coordinating early education on this island. We need to be delivering a system of early education that's not just public schools, but also includes places like libraries or businesses that might be willing to open up space for their workers. And so we need a coordination system. We also need a system that's going to be building up quality educators and making sure that they get paid. So that's looking at funding sources for that. And it's then also looking for access points. As Representative Capella said, and what I'm really excited about is that there's opportunities for us to leverage federal funding for things like early education. We need to keep doing those things with preschool open doors that have already been done. And again, early education is going to be a public-private partnership. We will have seats and early childcare programs in the public schools, but in order to reach everyone, we're going to have to go across the delivery system.
Rep. Belatti, right now there are a lot of TV ads kind of flooding the airwaves for one of the other candidates for lieutenant governor, and I'm not seeing the same volume of ads for you. So what as a voter should I make of that? What does that really mean? Should it concern me as a voter that you don't have a flood of TV ads?
Well, I am not the only candidate. I am a candidate not taking corporate PAC money. That has become really important to me because I think what we've seen is a lot of distrust around candidates who are accepting corporate PAC monies. We need to get special interest out of politics. What I will share with all of you is that I am out there. Go to Della for Hawaii on Instagram and YouTube. I will be picking up more and more media time, but I am the underdog here. I am not going to be able to challenge and defend against the $12 million PAC that is funding ads for my major opponent. What I am doing though is going out. Again, this is my 12th visit to a neighbor island since I first entered this race. I am going and showing up everywhere. At my table, I have a list of all of the public debates that candidates have been invited to. I am showing up. Hawaii voters deserve a leader who shows up. My major opponent, who is being funded by the $12 million PAC, has decided to only show up to one of these. And these are being broadcast across the state as well as live stream. Really important for me to be a part of this race was to offer people a choice. Part of offering people a choice is meaning you need to talk about what you stand for. You need to show up. So I will let it be what it is. Please come and watch me, listen to me. I hope to earn your vote. And that's what I'm going to do to win this race and be your next lieutenant governor.
Spotlight Now, which is on Hawaii News Now, K5, is advertising that both you and Derek Kawakami will be on their program this Tuesday. Is that true?
Yes, that's the only one that I understand that Mayor Kawakami has agreed to be a part of at this point in time.
All right, it's on K5, which on my TV is channel 6. 12:30 and 7:30, I think is what it is. So I'm just curious to see the two of you together.
I'm eager to see Mayor Kawakami. We've been at events, and it's very cordial, but I think it's really, really important for the people of Hawaii to see us head to head, to be able to contrast. As I've been out, people have been asking me, what is his positions? That's not for me to say. All I can tell you is that I'm here to fight for Hawaii's working families.
One of the issues that the state is facing, and Rep. Kapaloa spoke about this, is that federal funding is getting diminished. And, that we've got to do something. We cannot continue to spend the money that we don't have. So even though as lieutenant governor, you wouldn't be in charge of the budget, clearly the governor has some decisions to make. Give us a little information. Talk about how you think the budget needs to be handled, because our state just does not have enough money to do everything that needs to be done, in my opinion.
For me, one of the last things, some of the things that I've been doing over the last 2 years has been very focused on budget transparency and transparency in general. I think we need more transparency. We need more sunshine. And part of that is understanding how the budget gets made, that the governor gets a first crack at it, the House and the Senate. And what we need to do is continue to have conversations about what our priorities are. Because the budget is the largest bill that explains our values. And so when you have a budget that may be cutting in certain places, you need to explain why. I was proud to join two of my other colleagues about 4 years ago, and it was a really tough decision. I voted no on a budget because we had not been supporting, we were going to defund public education and higher education about 4 years ago. It was really important for me to stand up, speak up, and then continue to work with my colleagues. I was really proud a year later that we came back and what we funded in the budget was restoring the cuts that happened to K through 12 education and higher education. That's the kind of thing that we need to do. So it's about transparency, talking about the decisions we're making in the budget, and then prioritizing. I will say one last thing. Chair Todd of the Finance Committee, we are going to have a serious conversation about tax revenues and what that means and what that looks like. And while we did impose the billionaires tax, the higher end tax, we're going to see more federal cuts. So we need to grapple with what that means. Yes, some of it will be trimming the budget, but we also have to ask ourselves, if people are receiving benefits, tax benefits at the federal level, then they can give a little bit more at the state. Because guess what? The tax benefits that the ultra rich are getting at the federal level, that's money that needs to be coming back to the coffers of government, where only government is the one that can really spend on the infrastructure needs, right? Developers will shift infrastructure needs to either government or taxpayers. So we have to be ready. If we really want to double down on housing affordability, it's about the federal government and the state government stepping up for those big costs that government is responsible. Things like infrastructure, water, sewer, all these things that we were talking about. Medicaid, right? That's a form of infrastructure. That's healthcare infrastructure. The cuts that we're seeing, we're going to have to respond to that. And it concerns me, as Majority Caucus Leader Kahaloa said, more cuts are coming. We have to grapple with that.
Rep. Della, Au Belatti, the end of our time has come. So let me give you a chance to make any final comments. And first of all, let me thank you for coming over here to the Big Island, because a lot of candidates at state level kind of forget we're out there, even though we're the biggest geographic area. So what are your final thoughts and comments, please?
I want to say something about the Big Island. There are solutions here. So it's so important for leaders like me to come out, because we have to bring those community-based solutions like what Vibrant Hawaii is doing in resilience to the state and make sure it goes statewide. As I've talked with residents across this state, every day people are making hard choices about healthcare, food, education, just to survive. We are exporting our families to the mainland. So as your Lieutenant Governor, I will tackle the high cost of housing affordability, education, healthcare, and energy. We need to get money out of politics. We did a first good start of it, but we have to defend that law. We need a government that is honest, and we need to protect what makes Hawaii special. So that means defending against attacks on our Native Hawaiian communities. It means defending against attacks against our immigrant communities. It means making sure that we fully fund a healthy environment, even as the federal government is cutting funding to natural resources. Those are all of the things we have to do. I want to be here to serve you as your next Lieutenant Governor. So please consider me and vote Belatti for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.